8 o'clock on a Monday, and Anti-Tracker is
I should turn this down.
shaving baby Groot. Sassy's jumping
You can sing
on
along
the
with him
bed
No, I'm all right.
with a woo.
Now, if it was, my open, I could sing along.
And Stromore.
I just wonder why it says Anti-Tracker shaving baby Groot.
I don't know.
It's
Because it's bird. Do you really need an explanation? Or do you really want one? Would be the question.
Alright, let's just go straight to the credits here.
How are we gonna be able to?
Can't hear you.
Oh.
It's the Anti-Tracker.
We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulty.
Hey guys, yes, that's right. Rambling Canuk is here, and I realized that I misspelled his name in the name of this live stream, but he'll get over it. Sorry about that. And Rambling Canuk wants to put me in my place, but first I got to say, in a first-time shocker, Mrs. Anti-Tracker is first in the chat today. Hey babe, how you doing? And then Jeff says hi. Resolute says hi. Jeff is saying hi to Mrs. Anti-Tracker, of course. Mike is here from Columbus, Ohio. Jeff says best credits ever indeed. Pianodean is saying hi to Mrs. Antricker and me. Hey, Multi-Gunman says come to Kuroga, stay for the Corona. Wow. And then Multi-Gunman says hi. How you doing, my friend? So we're going to get right to business here because Rambling Canuk specifically asked to have some valuable real estate on one of my live streams to put me in my place, tell me what an idiot I am, and basically just make me look really, really bad, which I keep trying to say that's not hard to do. I mean, I am a pile of crap after all.
Well, I wouldn't say it's to make you look bad. Just point out where you're wrong.
All right. Well, fair. So you. So
is there a reason why I can't see the chat?
I can't control you. What, you want me to put the chat on in Streamlabs or StreamYard?
Right. Yeah, because I only have it on StreamYards, or will crash my computer, dude.
Okay, well, sorry.
I don't have.
Us Americans have real computers.
Oh, is that the deal? Well, no, I won't go there right out of the gate. Well, we have American-paid healthcare then.
Hey, well, we'll see. When all the dust settles from the coronavirus, we'll see who has a healthcare system left. That'll be interesting to find out. Anyway, but so we're not here to talk about the coronavirus.
No.
So you want to straighten me out because you think I'm way off base with Picard.
Well, it's not that you're off base, but you're just kind of unfair in some senses.
Okay. And by the way, Alexander, thank you so much. Puts a couple of bucks in. Says Asian Muslim wife born in the USSR is the best choice. Thank you so much, my friend. I do appreciate it, as nutty as you are, and I will not call you a Canadian, even though you donated $2 Canadian.
Asian Muslim wife born in USSR is the best choice.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
And Epic says 1 shot per sorry, said by Rambling. That would be impossible. He's Canadian, though. That would kill us all. All right. But anyway, so back to it. So where am I being unfair with Picard?
Okay, well let's start out with my biggest pet peeve.
Okay.
The screen door on a submarine comment.
Okay.
Yeah. So your theory is that having a door that opens into space on a spaceship is stupid.
No. Having a door the size of the spaceship that opens up into space is stupid. I'm not against having a hatch. I'm not against having a docking port. But they opened up the entire edge of the cube, and not just that one edge. On the exterior shot, we see they open up every edge of the cube. The cube, in fact, question, what's holding the cube together when every seam along the cube is opened to evacuate all the Borg?
Well, it's a cube, anti-trekker. You can open the corners without everything deflating.
Well, the cube is not solid.
Sure, it is kind of.
No,
You still have four supporting walls plus a roof and a floor. You just have the openings on the corners.
well, okay, so
technically, it's still structurally sound.
but it still serves no purpose, and the problem is that they even had a way to write it into the series that would make more sense. And sorry about that noise. You didn't hear it rambling, but that noise was me getting a token in Risk. I forgot Risk was running in the background. Apparently, every time you get a token, which is like once an hour, it makes that noise. Anyway, Thomas puts $4.99 in the chat, says, breaking news, 78-year-old man comes out of retirement to do a stream on YouTube. Wait, what?
I'm as confused as you are.
Breaking
No,
news,
he's talking about me.
78-year-old man
Oh,
comes out of
okay.
retirement
Well,
to
then
do a stream on
then
YouTube.
they're being generous with your age.
Right. And by the way, I am sorry that this stream was late and will be somewhat abbreviated. It is a situation beyond my control at work, and I ended up really late getting off work, and I am really kind of pissed off about it, but there's nothing I can do. Anyway, so back to the screen door. So that's what. So here's the thing: the door of that magnitude on a cube serves no purpose other than to kill the entire crew of the cube, which is completely unnecessary considering that we saw in Voyager the Queen can simply destroy the cubes at will anyway.
True, but see, I actually went back and watched episode 8 because I knew this would be one of the topics.
Is that the one? That's the one where they evacuate the Borg.
That's the one where they evacuate the Borg. Yes, and it's because to me, like the dialogue that was given between, I'll just call her because it's too late and I haven't had enough coffee.
Narissa?
Yeah, and her general. When he says that they are in isolation, or as he put it, they're basically sectioned away. My brain automatically, especially when I saw the big door, as you put it, open up, I automatically went to cargo bay. I associated with the cargo bay blowout.
Sure.
Right. So for me at the time, it wasn't that big of a deal. As I went back so that I was fair when I came on, I went back and I rewatched the episode, and he mentions that they are. It's not a door. They're actually physically decoupling things in the cube.
So the cube are like latched together, that they're not actually.
That's the theory. So in sense, it's almost like the old Lego sets.
Right.
We're just gonna pull this one off, and then we can open it up, which is why there was no force field for 7 of 9 to activate.
But you see, here's the thing, though, and this is why I think it's a missed opportunity. Now, is that they had a better explanation already built into the series, even though they never addressed it directly. We've seen it dozens of times, and that are the massive lattice force field structures that are holding sections of the cube together that was obviously put there by the Romulans.
Yeah.
And So really, what they should have done is simply turned off said force fields.
Yes. Yeah, I could buy that. But for me, my major issue was not so much that that the cube opens up, because I mean basically I understood what they're trying to go for, which was the board were stacked up like cordwood in a cargo bay or whatever.
Hold on just a second. Jagerbomb put $5 in, so I don't want you to get talked over here.
With due respect, Rambling Canuck Anti-Trekker has been super fair to Picard. More fair than most. I didn't even watch this show. I am the unfair one.
And I know you can't hear the disembodied voice because you're in StreamYards, but Jaeger was saying that he feels that I have been fair to Picard, more fair than most, and he said he didn't even watch the show, so he's unfair. First of all, you're not being unfair, Jaeger, because you admit you didn't watch the show, so you're not making judgments about it. So you'd only be unfair if you were saying that, the episode 6 sucked when you never watched it, right? But thank you, though. I do appreciate the $5, and I do think I've been relatively fair to the show.
To be honest,
I think there was just another missed opportunity, though, because it doesn't make sense. And I know Captain Rednecks was making the assumption that the Romulans installed said doors, but you're telling me that the Romulans have to use massive force fields that cover about, from what you can see, maybe about 20% of the exterior of the cube just to hold some structural integrity, but they're going to take the time to build gigantic doors just to evacuate the Borg?
Yeah, I mean, you've got a point, and a valid point. And to be fair, I mean, the reason why why one of the reasons I wanted to do this as my last hurrah before season 2, and never talk about Picard until season 2.
It'll come up, it.
The last 2 debates I've been on, at least with you, I'm dealing, with somebody who's been pretty much on keel to some degree, with minor differences and different opinions and different viewpoints on Picard.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be more of a, to steal your other channel's name, a more rational conversation than
right.
than I've had before.
I try to be fair to the show, and that's the problem is that it pisses off everybody because the Phantom Menace thinks that I'm too soft on the show, and the whatever you call the anti-Phantom Menace, because not everybody that disagrees with the Phantom Menace is an SJW, but the people who either just don't care about some of the same issues as the Phantom Menace, put it that way, they think I'm being too harsh on the show. And
yeah, well, it speaks to where we live in. In the generation we live in. Right. There is no middle ground.
Right. It's either the best show ever or the worst.
Yeah. There's no middle ground on anything.
Yeah.
Anything you look at, there's no middle ground. You're either for it or against it, and prepare to fight to the death on either or.
Right. And here's the thing, like Jeff points out also that he thinks the Romulans installed the doors because they were concerned that maybe the XBs would try to take the cube back. I could see, and same thing with, I know that's kind of what Captain Redneck was talking about too. The problem with that, and the reason I have a problem with that, is the impracticality of it, is that you could build a far better fail-safe device than an engineering feat that would be beyond anything the Romulans have ever been seen to build before. As far as a door, dozens of times the size of a D'Deridex ship, right? These are doors that are more massive than the space doors at Space Dock. And they installed it in an existing ship somehow, and they installed it just for the purpose of, blowing out the Borg, when, like I said, either simply turning off the force field could have done the exact same thing. And if you say, well, they weren't positioned right, guess what? The visual effects guys could have made it so they were positioned right. That's easy enough to fix. So,
Hindsight's 2020.
huh? Yeah,
Hindsight's 2020.
but you know what I'm saying is that would if they wanted them to be blown out into space, then the force field idea would have made more sense. Or you could have simply had a series of explosives wired to every single Borg cubicle, so that hit the button and then they just all blow up.
Yeah, but for me, I think my main why I didn't have such an issue with it was when I saw that, I immediately went to, okay, they're doing the old trope of cargo bay blowout, and so for me, it didn't bother me, it didn't faze me as much.
But here's the thing, I think that where you think, because honestly, the door, not a big deal to me. Not a hill I would be willing to die on, because while you may really find it grating that I knocked it for it, honestly, what bothered me about that scene was not the existence of a giant garage door. What bothered me about the scene was the fact that exactly 15 seconds after 7 of 9 becomes the Borg Queen, the Borg are all dead. That's and it's like they
bother me
completely
too. I even said it in my review, so for me to say it now would be, contradictory. But to me, I didn't like the fact that they got rid of the Borg so easily. But
twice.
Yeah, but with the caveat, I kind of expected them to right from the beginning.
Well,
I didn't expect I didn't expect the Borg, the way I always like to explain it is, the Borg for me were always the potatoes. They were never the steak. They were always the potatoes. They were never going to be the steak, ever.
Right, but they didn't even make them the potato. They made them the garnish. You see, if they weren't even the potato. They were not a substantial part of the meal at all. They were just a decoration off to the side of the plate, and just to dangle them there to get people interested. And then, oh, by the way, they mean nothing.
Yeah,
but
and to me, it wasn't. I never expected them to go that route, because to be honest with you, in my humble opinion, the Borg were done to death in Voyager, right?
Well, sure, and I was not expecting
another Borg centric show.
I didn't either, and believe me, when they showed the Borg cube, I had mixed feelings, because on the one hand, it looked great, but on the other hand, I was kind of like, oh, they're doing this again.
Yeah, now I don't want another Borg centric. They're the big bad, because they can only be the big bad in an episode or two.
But here's the problem. What they should have done is had that episode or two. They should have had, instead of having 7 of 9 say, we are Borg, and then they're all dead, actually have that battle. Actually have that Romulan fleet have to deal with the Borg cube. Then you move back onto the synth storyline and all that. But you have your big epic Borg fight, because if you're going to tease a Borg cube for 8 episodes, then we need to see some Borg cube action. And instead, what we got was Borg being blown out into space, and then Borg cube comes through wormhole and crashes.
Thanks to this series equivalent to Space Whales.
Well, yeah, well, a combination of well, I think it was just that Bird of Prey was flying the cube. Honestly, I think that's.
If you can tell, you'll never hear an argument from me about the stupid orchids.
Yeah,
because they were stupid.
The orchids. I mean, here's the thing: some kind of bio weapon that could take down ships. Sure, but making them flowers was just kind of dumb.
Well, made by synths.
Yeah.
Why would synths resort to an organic weapon?
Well, because they're synths, of course. So they're synthetic organic weapons.
Sure. Right. Nah.
But yeah, you see, but here, so overall, here's the thing with Picard. The entire series, from beginning to end, was nothing but a stream of missed opportunities.
I don't know. I think they landed some and they missed some. Like the Data Picard story arc, I liked. a lot.
There was no arc. There was a couple of moments.
Yeah, but I mean, at the beginning of the series, like the beginning of the series.
Hold on just a second. Our disembodied voice has something to say here.
We all want MCU Aunt May naked right now.
So we all want MCU Aunt May naked right now. I'll let you guess who that is.
Alexander.
So, and Indie Tiger puts in $5, and we'll wait for the disembodied voice here. And of course, now there's going to be delay because that's how it always. There it is. I wish there was a way to make it go faster.
Anti-Trekker wants Borg on Romulan action confirmed.
So Indy says that I want Borg on Romulan action confirmed. I absolutely did. I would have loved to have seen that fleet of 218 warbirds have to dispatch a Borg cube. Then you could thin out the herd a little, so to speak. Well, first of all, 218 ships in a fleet was stupid. But, you know, so you could have started with a fleet of 218 ships. They had to take on a Borg cube, so then by the time they get to the planet, there's only 30 of them.
Okay, so what would you have taken out for that to replace?
What do you mean?
Well, I don't want another. You can't. You have to work within the framework, so you have 10 episodes, right? I don't want them any longer than they already were.
Why do we have to have 10 episodes?
Because that was the set benchmark. Was 10 episodes.
Right. Well, that's one of the fundamental problems I have with this series. That benchmark, in my opinion, is stupid. A Star Trek season should be at minimum 20 episodes.
Yeah, but you're not going to get that in the modern age.
Well, maybe not, but I'm still going to insist that would have made for a better series where you could actually explore some of these ideas and not just have it be about Picard going on an apology tour. In just a second, Alexander puts in another $2 Canadian, even though he's not Canadian.
I want Borg action on me. 7 of 9, please.
And he wants Borg action on me. 7 of 9, please. We will play some 7 of 9 for you as soon as me and Rambling wrap up. All right, promise. So the 10 episode story arc makes no sense, but even if you want to keep it to 10 episodes, then fine. You take the first 2 episodes and roll them into a singular episode.
Okay.
And that gives you 1 additional episode to play with on the back half. And so you take 1 episode and make it the Borg battle. Instead of having all the Borg just suddenly get nerfed the second that they become the Borg again, you have, when Seven says we are the Borg, then you have Narissa and immediately beam off the cube, and the Romulan fleet show up, and that's the end of that episode. And then the next episode, we get the big battle between the Romulan fleet and the Borg cube becomes the centerpiece of that episode, with the B plot being Picard and crew taking the transwarp conduit, and then the Borg attempt to follow them to the transwarp conduit. They're disabled hopelessly by the Romulan fleet, and the Romulan fleet follows the Borg cube into the conduit, meaning that everybody is going to end up at the synth planet. Which, of course, would actually make more sense that the Romulan fleet found their way to the synth planet.
Sure. I give you that. That would be a more interesting story, but that wasn't the story they were trying to tell.
But you see, the thing is what I did didn't change the overall story. The only thing I did was consolidate. You know, I trimmed out a little bit of the fat at the front end, because a lot of people think that the first 3 episodes was
yes, and I'll agree with you. That was dragged out for.
So if we could take those 3 episodes, and I'm not even saying, like, I know a lot of people say the first 3 episodes should have been 1 episode. I think that would have been a bit much, but you could break it into 2, and then that would give you an additional episode for a massive action set piece, which is something that this series lacked. And Thomas donated $1. Thank you so much, Thomas. And let's see, what did he have to say?
The synths were hippies, just look at them. They live in a hippie commune. So yes, flower power. Number 19.
Okay, good point. But he also wants number 19, so stand by just a minute, Rambling. I know you can't see the super chat, so I'll tell you when it's done.
Presenting the newest incarnation of the Joker.
What? What are you talking about? That's not the Joker. That's just some guy.
Oh, right. Sorry. This is the new incarnation of the Joker.
Oh, great. That is just disgusting.
McDonald's disembodied head!
All right. So, and thank you, Thomas. I do appreciate it, my friend. Wrong one. There we go. All right. So, anyway, but if we consolidate the 3 episodes to 2, that would have just tightened up the pacing at the front end. And then you have that action set piece, which is something that this series sorely lacked. And now, don't get me wrong. In a sense, the lack of, in fact, the frustrating lack of an action set piece is that's a next gen trope. You know, I mean, honestly, next gen was very stingy with satisfying action sequences. I mean, Best of Both Worlds was one of the rare exceptions.
Episode 10, the standoff between the Romulans and the Federation fleet was 100% a TNG trope.
Right. But the thing is, I don't even mind. I don't mind the fact. And hey, Zach, how you doing? I don't mind the fact that they avoided the big fight at the end, because that's something that Picard would desperately want to do. But that doesn't excuse the series from having an action set piece at all. And that's where I think that's why they had the antique bird of prey scene, because, well, now they can say they at least had one decent space battle, but that was just a tease of what they could do.
Yes, but see, for me, I don't mind the pacing, and I don't mind that there wasn't the big space battle in season 1.
There's a Night Breeze donates $2. Thank you so much, Night Breeze. And the Disembodied wants to talk about some space whales.
Space whales? They solved the SD4 probe mystery.
And no, they weren't. Well, they were saying that they were, space whales. Space whales. I don't even want anything. And Alexander puts another $2 Canadian in. Thank you so much. And we'll wait for the disembodied voice to. There we go. Just a second here.
Peak Performance is the best G episode ever.
And Alexander says that Peak Performance was the best TNG episode ever. Now, I know he's saying that because Ensign Actress was in it, but I like Peak Performance, but it's also kind of suffers from that same problem. They tease action, and then we never really get it.
Neutral Zone.
Yeah, Neutral Zone's a great example of that. And TNG was all, over and over we would have standoffs that then fizzle out. Now,
yes.
Do you have to have an action sequence for it to have good Trek? I think Zachary makes a good point. No, absolutely not. But if you're going to do a 10-episode arc and you're going to tease action throughout it, then you should have it. You should not purposefully, don't show me a Borg cube for 8 episodes and then never get to see the Borg cube do something, right? Don't put Hugh in the series and show him over and over and then just have him die like he was nothing, right? There's so many Chekhov's guns in this series, it's pathetic. And then they literally solve the problem with a magic wish machine.
Yeah, the magic wish machine, I kind of equal that to we need to do something that's totally impossible, realign the deflector dish.
But you know what he could have also done? And I mean, at least... And
well,
that's the
we
thing.
could have done a million things, Andrew.
Right. Well, I know, but...
like, hindsight 2020, and there's the show you got and the show you want. I get it.
But that's what we're talking about. And Alexander puts another fake Canadian dollars, and I shouldn't say fake. I haven't said that in a while. I apologize to Canadians. Well, they are fake Canadian because he's not Canadian.
Star Trek Picard.
There was a lack of Neelix in Star Trek Picard. That's true, Alexander. Now, I know you think that's a negative. I don't think anybody else does.
No.
And Commander Shutter puts $2 in, and eventually Disembodied Voice should see that. But it says, I'm okay. Oh, there we go. Now we'll get it.
I am okay with space whales. Remember space amoebas.
And Commander Shutter says, I'm okay with space whales. Remember the space amoebas. Well, the space amoeba I thought was actually really cool. And so the space amoeba from the immunity syndrome from the original series. I'm sure you remember that one.
No, I'm not as brushed up on the original series.
It was a giant 10,000 mile across amoeba.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do remember I came into Star Trek during TNG.
80 watts with the mask.
And I'm only 35.
Also good to see Rambling Canuck about. Hopefully he's recovered from his unexpected torments. What's next on your attempt at a Klingon Batchy?
We got 2 more super chats. So, wow, you guys are being awesome. But Mrs. Life with Matthew puts in $1. Thank you, Mrs. Life with Matthew. Uh-oh.
Matthew has me so mad after last night. Is Birdo pre-single?
I don't know who did that, but that's good. So Mrs. Life with Matthew said that she was furious after last night and wants to know if Bird of Prey 5 is single. Do you know about what happened last night?
I was there for most of the stream, but
we basically implied that Life with Matthew thinks that his wife is ugly, so that was.
Oh, you went and got him in trouble, did you?
So and the brown guy puts in $1.39. Thank you so much. And man, you guys are going crazy tonight. Thank you. And also, Indie Tiger, there it is. Indie Tiger put in $5, and we got and I'm sorry for making you wait here, Rambling, but people are being generous.
She had a number of
so you gotta have me on the show more often than they pay.
Really?
Neutral Zone was bad remake of Balance of Terror.
Yeah. And Indy says TNG had a number of watered down episodes of TOS. Neutral Zone was like a bad remake of Balance of Terror. And by the way, Life with Matthew is in the chat. Says, Checker, just a couple of days until the black eye I got from tripping onto the doorknob heals, and I can be back on camera.
He was on camera today.
It's all, remember, spousal abuse is not a joke.
He was on camera today. He was fine.
And Alexander puts another $2 Canadian in. Thank you. You must have gotten paid today, Alexander.
Please don't do the mono
actually,
challenge.
Canadian government went and gave 2 GST checks back to back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, to help with the thing we won't mention.
Yeah. Although the problem is that, eventually, man, the worldwide economy is going to take such a hit.
Bloody hell. Any politician for the next 5 years that says they won't raise taxes is lying through his bloody teeth.
Okay. But thank you so much. And Alexander reminds us to not do the Momo challenge, which I don't think anybody was planning on it.
No.
Anyway, but yeah, and Zachary says they've been saving up the money because I've been on. Well, I only wasn't on yesterday because I was on Matthew's channel. But thank you guys, I truly do appreciate it. You really humble me when you do that kind of thing, and it's just like it blows me away. But I think that so here's the problem. I don't have a problem with non-action Trek. There are plenty of episodes of Trek throughout all the various series that were not action focused. But there are also, and this is true of all the series, the most memorable moments tended to have action in them. You think of Best of Both Worlds, In a Mirror Darkly, Balance of Terror, Sacrifice of Angels, Scorpion. That's just picking one from each series. That I'm not going to bother with Discovery, but but even Discovery, I can't remember the name of the episode, but the one where they defended the other starship, Life with Matthew pointed out, that's actually a pretty darn good space battle. The Star Trek, when they do space battles, should do them well, and they should be rare, but they should be enjoyable. I would have no problem with this series having 1, maybe 2 space battles, but don't tease it and tease it and tease it and then say, nah, we're not going to do it.
Well, before we got lambasted with a whole bunch of super chats, the point I was going to make was one thing that I got coming out of this series, because as you may or may not know, I only watched the one season of Discovery, and then I just listened to your reviews of the second season. Remember how we were talking earlier, where you're either on one side or
one
another.
more second. And by the way, Alexander, I agree with you 100% on this one.
Please support the GoFundMe of Captain Trek.
So Alexander asked us to support the it's GoFund, not found, but GoFundMe of Captain Trek. If you haven't and you can spare a couple of bucks, which I know some of you can, because you've given me some money, which, don't get me wrong, I truly, truly appreciate it. But if you can squeeze out a couple of bucks to give to Captain Trek for his upcoming surgery, that's awesome. I'm going to donate as soon as I'm able, and basically when I get paid from YouTube this month. But anyway, I did not mean to cut you off once again, Rambling Canuk.
Yeah, but no, and I absolutely agree. Yes, definitely support Captain Trek. He's keeping me to the grindstone and making me watch Enterprise. So yes, do support Captain Trek. But no, so one thing that I was thinking when I came out of this season, in a lot of ways, it made me think the polar opposite to what you've got to Discovery, right? So you have in Discovery, you had in season 1, you had a character that started off strong and just got stronger. And then in Picard, all the characters are basically at their lowest point possible, which is exactly the polar opposite. And they did the same. So to me, I think it was a lot of, we did this and it didn't work, so we're going to go the exact opposite and do it in Picard to some degree. Well, and that's where that's why we didn't get the big space battles and stuff, and that'll be in season 2.
But you see, I don't think we're going to get big space battles in season 2 of Picard.
No?
No, I don't. I don't think that we're ever going to see space battles of any kind of epic scale in Picard. We'll see them on Discovery, but the problem is Discovery doesn't know how to do them in the Trek way. Now, Picard came close with that Bird of Prey battle in, was it episode 6? I thought was fun. But very brief. But I was okay with that because I was thinking, okay, that's like the little battle, then we'll get a big battle, and then we'll get the resolution of the series. But instead, we just had the little battle. Yeah.
And like for me, the season 1, if I have to break it down for like explain what season 1 was it was an introduction of the crew. A brief introduction of the big bad, because I believe that the synths are going to be the big bad synths are going to be a recurring theme throughout this.
Well, they've appeared in Discovery and in Picard, so why not?
Yeah, so I think they're going to come back. I don't think that's the last we see.
I have a feeling that we're going to see them in Discovery season 3. I think that may be where we actually. And thank you, Thomas, for putting the link to the GoFundMe in there. I think that, because remember, Discovery Season 3 takes place like 800 years after Picard.
Yeah, which makes no bloody sense to me.
Well, yeah, I know, but and so I would think that, and we do know that the tentacle that we saw in Picard looked very much like the tentacle from the distant future that we saw in Discovery Season 2.
Yeah.
And so,
well, I wouldn't know because I didn't see season 2. So whatever.
Okay, well, when if and when you ever do, and by the way, and you guys know I try to call it like I see it. Season 2 of Discovery was far better than season 1. It was still crap, but it wasn't crap for the same reasons. In fact, there were actually, and I know you're going to find this shocking. There were some times when I really enjoyed Michael Burnham on screen. And that was mainly because her interactions with Spock were surprisingly good.
Okay. Yeah, well, I remember from your reviews that they had the brother-sister relationship.
Yeah, they felt like a genuine brother-sister. They just completely screwed up the landing. The finale of Season 2 was the single worst episode of Discovery to date.
Okay.
And it's because they had so much that they were building up to that was good, and then they just crapped all over it.
Yeah. But so for me, like Picard season 1, and I guess I look at this and I give maybe the writers more credit than I should. But to me, season 1, season 2, so they know going in that they've got 2 seasons. So I think the way I look at it is long game, right? I try to look at it like long game. So I'm giving them more credit than what they probably do. But I look at it long game. So season 1, we get the brief introduction of the big bad. And my biggest fear in episode 10 was they were going to destroy the big bad. And they didn't, so I was happy with that. We get a brief introduction of our main characters, and we get a little bit of a couple of things resolved, but a lot of things not, which will lead into season 2.
But there really wasn't much that was not resolved. I mean, honestly, the only thing that was... the only thing you could... I mean, there are a few things that I think are loose ends that they just didn't think of, like the Borg cube is still sitting on the synth planet. But as far as... I mean, they could never go back to the synth planet and it wouldn't matter. It would be just another planet that we had an adventure around in Star Trek. And now there's a planet with a small colony of synthetics on it.
Yes.
And they could never, they could never again deal with Captain Potty Mouth. She redeemed herself by the end of it. They could, Riker, is the acting captain line aside. Riker, it was fun to see him, but no lasting consequences of any of that. The Romulan chick. Okay. Theoretically, she could still be alive in that Borg cube, but probably she's dead and we'll never see her again. Narek, I don't even remember what happened to him. Is he alive? Is he dead? I don't know.
Well, it was answered, but not on screen, so I won't go there.
Okay. And Seven being a lesbian isn't resolved, so that was just stupid. And the thing is, like with Seven's relationship of Rafi, and that's another thing, like it's a missed opportunity. There's so many missed opportunities. They could have had Seven and Rafi develop a relationship in the series, but they didn't. They just said, oh yeah, they're in a relationship now. And they more hinted at it than say they're I'm sorry. The handcuff thing was not hinting at anything. That was them just desperately trying to justify it. There was no hint that they had a relationship. The only hinted relationship was that Seven had a relationship with that chick that she murdered.
Yeah.
Okay. And the that was just stupid. Did I say Captain Potty Mouth? I meant Admiral Potty Mouth.
ENC Potty Mouth.
Yeah. The ironic thing about that, and I never thought about this until just now, this is the second time that at the end of a season they just tacked on a relationship for 7 of 9.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Oh look, she was married to Chakotay.
Yeah.
And so
I was never a Voyager fan, but yeah.
So they just did that to her again, except, oh, wow, we're edgy because she's gay now, because why not?
Sure. What? Who cares?
And that's the thing. It's like, if... It was just... There were so many missed opportunities that's why... now, what was your final score for the season as a whole?
For the season as a whole, I gave it a 7.
Okay. So you were a little more generous than me, but not a lot. I gave it a 6.
Yes.
Right? Which basically means, well, it was not a detriment to watch.
No.
And, nor is it something that, like, if I'm sitting there feeling depressed, am I going to put Picard on to cheer me up? No. I'll do what I do now and just put on the original series.
Yeah.
And because that's my feel-good Trek. And that's, I think, and I know, okay, get ready with your drinks. The nihilism in modern Trek is killing the franchise. And because Trek is supposed to be inspirational. And there's...
Well, I think that they can still do that with Picard.
Oh, sure they can. But the problem is that it felt like every time Picard gave a Picard speech, it felt like it was giving lip service to what Picard was.
Yes and no, because I think in this...
And Alexander says, this is better to read Conan, Blood and Deaths.
This is better to read Conan, Blood and Deaths.
Here's the thing. It's better if you like Conan. But I do not care for Conan. I'm sorry. I that's okay if you do. It's just not my cup of tea.
Conan O'Brien?
No, Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, okay.
You know, the lamentation of the women.
Yeah, I know. I was just being a smartass.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's not darkness that that I didn't like about it, because there's a difference between being dark and being nihilistic. Take another shot. Because dark simply means that the world is going through, the world as a whole is a place that may be in some trouble, right? Like if you were doing a story about the Earth today, you would say dark, because there's a pandemic going on, everybody's in lockdown, things are not positive, right? But nihilistic means that there's no intrinsic value in life itself. And it's a philosophical position that life is ultimately meaningless. And so nihilistic is like if you put Captain America or Superman or something into a dark world, they're going to be the characters that are still, Captain America is going to still stand up for the red, white, and blue no matter what. Superman is going to always fight for truth, justice, and the American way no matter what, even when the world is against him. However,
unless you use the wrong kryptonite on Superman, then but give a damn.
But a nihilistic Superman is like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. Which they've done.
Right. But really, like, for example, a nihilistic Superman is Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
And
but for me, I don't mind where they started it, as long as, because for me, this is the build up to the moment in the sun. Right?
Well, I hope you're right.
This whole season is, because my thing is even with Picard started this season broken.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I actually liked Picard himself.
He ends the season. Yes, he ends it as a synth, but he ends the season gaining back some of who he was and who he lost. So you see a development, you see a growth, and you start to see him go back to the way he was from what he lost.
Yeah, and although I agree with, first of all, I liked Picard himself through the season. I think he was the shining point of the series. He's the reason I give it a 6 and not a 3 or 4.
Because I think if the opposite were true, where Picard was, let's say, a Michael Burnham throughout the entire series, that would have turned the whole series to shite.
And Alexander, with another $2, Conan doesn't care. He wants war, wine, and women. Well, who doesn't, I guess.
I suppose.
Conan doesn't care. He wants war, wine, and women.
But I agree with DJ. DJ says, don't you think that they should have recast Picard as a younger man? I kind of do. I think that you absolutely could have recast Picard as a younger guy, and that would have worked 100% at the end of the series. If you're going to make him a synth, you might as well, say, okay, we can do 10 more seasons of Picard because now we have this young actor playing the part.
Yeah.
And so I think that it was a miss. Don't get me wrong, I love Patrick Stewart, but that was absolutely a golden opportunity to recast the role.
And I know why DJ brought that up, because we had a big shouting match about it on his channel. I
assume you disagree then.
I disagree, yes.
But here's the thing. Patrick Stewart is not long for this world. And I'm not saying that to be a dick. It's just a statistical fact. I mean, you know, he's
but
he's very, very old, and you can tell if you listen to the way he talks, he is not a virile old man, right? He's not. William Shatner, when he talks, has energy. Patrick Stewart does not. And so I understand why, Picard is sacred, Patrick Stewart is great, I get that, but the part is bigger than the actor. No matter who the actor is, the part is bigger than the actor. That's why, that's one thing I respect about the MCU, is that when actors think of themselves as great, they say bye. You have a problem
with Picard because it's nihilistic, yet you're like, well, he's old, get him the hell off screen.
No, I'm saying that realistically,
he's old, he could die tomorrow, get him off screen.
I'm saying that realistically, you don't start a television series and have a guy who's in his mid to late 80s playing the lead part. That is a recipe for disaster.
I don't think so.
If Picard dies before season 2 wraps,
you have an actor who can
Stewart,
till the end of the end of that season. You have one in place.
Conan has a lot of energy.
You have Rio.
Wine and women.
So Alexander put another. Conan has a lot of energy, war, wine, and women. So, yeah. Conan does have a lot of energy, but he is also not 85 years old. Or however, how old is Patrick Stewart? Is it 85 or?
I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, but I mean, you have Rios. Rios could carry the series to the end of season 2 if need be.
But then the problem is 79. Really, I thought he was older than that. Wow. Honestly, I did think he was older than, just because of the way he carries himself. He seems like he's way older than 79 to me. But the problem is that I don't. First of all, I think the reason it was only 10 episodes was because that's as much as they could get out of Patrick Stewart. Okay,
so who's the old actor in Mandalorian? Because they only got 8.
Well, I didn't say that's the Mandalorian is a very different story.
No, but you see my point. To say it's because Picard's old, that's kind of, most shows are top out at 15, unless they're like something where there's no CGI and
the Star Trek shows. And hold on, Fed puts in $5. Thank you so much, and we'll let the disembodied voice read it here.
Patrick Stewart is quintessentially an example of why I don't at all care about the actors, but rather the characters. I don't think Stewart, Picard.
I agree, and what Fed said, since you couldn't hear it, is that Patrick Stewart is quintessentially an example of why I don't at all care about the actors, but rather the characters. I don't think Stewart equals Picard, and that's something that you see. That's what I was trying to say, is that the character is paramount. No pun intended there. The character is what comes first, not the actor. And the problem with Picard, the series, is that they actually, just to get Patrick Stewart on board, they made changes to the series just to placate Patrick Stewart. And I'm sorry, but the character is more important than Patrick Stewart, which means that if you're going to do a Picard series and Patrick Stewart won't play nice, then you recast.
Okay, well, my point to that, and as I said to DJ, was if you were going to have somebody else younger play Picard, then you do it from the beginning.
I'd be okay with that.
You don't bring in Stewart for one season and then go, you're an old fart, get off my TV. That's where I draw the line.
Well, except that wouldn't be.
Start it with him. You're going to finish it with him.
Well, but then if the man dies. Then
the man dies.
But then you're going to have to either recast, which would be or just have him die off screen, which would be horribly unsatisfying. And you can't call it the Picard series if you just write Picard out of it and say, "Oh yeah, he's on vacation with Riker."
No, that would be the final season of Picard.
And Conan would kill Picard, war, wine, and women. Oh, Alexander, you really are crazy. I think that
would kill Picard. War, wine, and women.
I think that Conan would kill Picard if Picard didn't have a phaser.
Or Worf.
Yeah, well, but I'm just saying phaser. Just be fair, it was Conan versus Picard, not Conan versus the Enterprise. And Fed also puts another $5 in and says, "This is also why I prefer anime or animation in general. You don't need Stewart if it's animated. Hell, his movies are partially animated anyway. See, they're CGI.
This is also a reason why I prefer anime or animation
let
in
the reader
general.
do it.
You don't need Stewart if it's animated. Hell, most movies are partially animated CGI.
And that's a good point, but I don't prefer animation. I prefer live action, just because I like the more visceral feel of live action. But I just think that, honestly, if and I don't think Patrick Stewart would be horrified by the idea if they said, "Hey, we just want you to come in for one season, and we got this great idea so that we can continue Picard for the next generation. We'll put you in an android body, and we'll cast, James McAvoy or something to be the part." It's not like Patrick Stewart was pissed off that James McAvoy took over Professor X from him.
No.
And I don't hear anybody bitching about that.
But my point is, if you're going to do that, you do it from the beginning. Because otherwise, you're going to have that TNG base that got excited for a year that Stewart was coming back and we were going to see him on screen again. Mm-hmm. And then you basically slap all of us in the face and say, "Ha, your actor's too freaking old. We're getting rid of him."
You know what? Nobody says that. Wait. Well, why are you saying that? Nobody says that about Doctor Who. Nobody says that about Don Cheadle replacing what's his name as Rhodey. You replace actors because actors are physically incapable of continuing, or they're assholes and they want to take over the production. I mean, that's That's
yeah.
just
I get your point, but I'm also stating that it's not an irrelevant thought for somebody who wanted to see Stewart back. That it would be that would piss me off.
I guess part of it, and this is maybe we have a different perspective on this, but here's the thing: when they first announced Picard, I said from day one he is too damn old. And people were saying, "Oh, look at how great he was as Professor X and Logan." No, he wasn't great. That was just him being him. That's how old he is. People thought, "Wow, how did Patrick Stewart act so old?" He didn't. We just haven't seen him in a few years. You don't realize how much he's aged.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see a man, a man basically deteriorate on screen. That's one of the reasons I hated Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I don't want to see Harrison Ford, slowly wither away. I didn't like seeing him as Han Solo in the new films. Not because, I hate Harrison Ford. No, it's because the man, looks like he's 150 years old. I don't want to see him running around pretending to be a swashbuckler. And in Picard, while they did, to credit to the series, they did a couple of times stress the fact that he's old. They didn't make him do too many unbelievable things, although the sword fight scene was still one of my least favorite moments in the series. Because I don't care what anybody says, he did not deflect that sword, he blocked it. I watched it over and over. His arm should have come off at that point. All right? I don't care how fit a 95-year-old Picard is, he's 95. And the thing is that from the first episode, it was telegraphed that Picard was going to die. They made it clear as day, when they start bringing back the aromatic syndrome, they start talking about mortality, they show the fact that he can't run upstairs anymore. They make it very painfully clear from episode 1, this is going to be the end of Picard. But
honestly, I still think it is going to be. When this series wraps up, it will be the end of Picard.
Maybe so, but it's still. And Alexander, hold on just a minute. Don't run yet. I'll have 7 of 9 kiss you goodnight here in just a moment, because I'm actually going to wrap it up here, because Unfortunately, I know we got a late start, but I think that we've kind of hashed out where our differences are and where we agree. Where our main differences, you think that the Borg were the Borg garage door was excusable. I don't. And you think that recasting Picard would be a cardinal sin, and I don't. But other than that, we tend to agree that the series could have been better, and hopefully with season 2 will be.
Yes.
And did I miss a super chat from Rambling Canuk? Or for Rambling Canuk? I didn't see that. I'm sorry, Fed. Let me go back and hold on. Let me get to the mouse here. I am so sorry. And that was from Fed. So let me see. I read that one. Patrick Stewart, yes. Oh yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about because there was all those ones that came in at once. So yeah, the Fed threw $10 in and says, "What's with the mask? Have you been coronaed?" Because I have the mask on my turd. I'm like, it's just for fun. Also, good to see Rambling Canuck about. Hopefully, he's recovered from his unexpected torments. What's next on your attempt at a Klingon bachelor party?
I'm confused.
Well, obviously, the Fed thinks you're throwing a Klingon bachelor party and you had unexpected torments.
Okay. Well, that's probably because he watched not the last Enterprise review, but the review before that when they had a holodeck on a Klingon ship that I lost my ever-loving mind over.
Gotcha. So there you go. So with that, we are going to wrap it up. But just for Crazy Alexander, hold on and just relax for a minute, Canuck here. We're watching 7 of 9. You don't get to see it. Well, maybe we'll turn on the camera. Here you go.
Borg vessel's moving into range.
On screen.
No, you can't hear it.
Let's get lost in that magic place all alone now. Drink your fill from my fountain of love, wet your lips. I'm a man, I'm a teaser, I'm a man, well I'm a virgin, I'm a man, I'm a one-night stand, a man, I'm a man, I'm a man, I'm a dream, I'm a dream divine, make love together.
He's dead.
Yes, Alexander always loves that. That's for sure. And no, I don't think, and Daniel said, I hope they don't cheat for the fans' sake and have Picard join the Q continuum. I don't think they're going to do that. Even if they do bring Q in season 2, I think that would be just stupid. I don't think they're going to do anything like that. Although they could theoretically, sorry, there goes that stupid coin thing again. They could theoretically have Q transform Picard into a younger man. If that would be something they could actually do. So anyway, guys, with that, I am going to wrap it up. I want to thank Rambling Canuck for hanging out with me. I want to thank all of you guys. I know that usually you're used to me reading all the chats, and I'm sorry I didn't tonight. But we'll get back to the swing of things, I promise. But Rambling Canuck wanted to put me in my place, so there we go. With that, good night, and don't forget to, I don't know, go watch whoever's streaming next. It looks like it was DJ is streaming. I don't know if that's a link to DJ's stream or if that's just DJ throwing random links in. Let me see. We'll click on the link and see what opens up. And what the heck? How did that happen? I have no idea what this is.
Anti-tracker accidentally clicked Pornhub.
Pain therapy or something. So, no, it popped up. Pain therapy or something like that. That's the name of DJ's new stream, is Pain Therapy or something like that. So, go join DJ's stream. Anti-Tracker doesn't read chats anymore, says Epic, and Anti-Tracker's a jerk. Boy, they're being mean, I tell you.
Yeah, I'm on.
Hey, but at least you read
Anti-Tracker
super chats, which is better than a couple of channels I could name, but I won't.
Well, so I was going to tell you guys to go hang out with DJ, but not anymore. You should all unsub to DJ.
And sub to me.
And, yeah, you can go ahead and sub to Rambling Canuck. All right, guys. Good night. Have a good one, and I'll go say hi to DJ before I go to bed, I guess.
Making your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating JJ sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to just get laid? Sometimes you wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be in a galaxy where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Turds of a feather flock together, that's what we believe. We know a place that's got you covered, a place to get relief. Wouldn't you like to say me poo? Sometimes you wanna go where Turner-Stanleys know your name, and all Kurogans are to blame. You wanna be where you can see Kuroga go up in flames. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
You son of a bitch, Anti-Tracker!